Starting pitchers nowadays average about 150 innings a season. It's a far cry from a century ago when pitchers routinely pitched 300 innings in a season, and an even farther cry from a legend who once pitched 464 innings in a season. This legendary pitcher is Ed Walsh, who is also the last 40-game winner in modern baseball. Edward Augustine Walsh was born on May 14, 1881 in Plains Township, Pennsylvania. He was the son of Irish immigrants and was one of 13 children. In his youth, he worked in the Luzerne County coal mines, but he soon switched to a professional baseball career. He pitched for the 1902 Meriden Silverites of the Connecticut State League. At the end of the 1903 season, he moved to the majors when the Chicago White Sox purchased his contract. In 1904, Walsh debuted with the White Sox. He spent the season as a spot starter and reliever. He had a 6.3 record with 57 strikeouts and an ERA of 2.60. It was during this season that he learned the spitball, taught to him by teammate and fellow rookie Elmer Strickland. While Walsh did not invent the spitball, his use and eventual success made it popular. The following season, Walsh remained a part-time player. He had an 8.3 record, a 2.17 ERA, and 71 strikeouts. For the past two seasons, Walsh had been a spot starter 21 times and came in relief 19 times. He finally pitched a full season in 1906. Walsh went 17-13 with an ERA of 1.88 and 171 strikeouts. He also had 2 saves and led the league with 10 shutouts. That season, he led the White Sox to the World Series. The 1906 White Sox were called the Hitless Wonders, as they won the pennant despite batting .230 as a team, the lowest in the league. But the pitching staff was exceptional. They led the league with 32 shutouts and had the second lowest ERA. The White Sox also had a 19-game winning streak, which was the AL record for almost 100 years. The 1906 World Series was an all-Chicago affair. The White Sox faced the juggernaut Cubs, which had the highest win percentage and most season wins in baseball history. Walsh won games 3 and 5, as the White Sox won the series in 6 games. Walsh had a 2.0 record, 17 strikeouts, a 0.60 ERA, and a whip of .867. Walsh also set the then record of 12 strikeouts in a World Series game. In Game 3, he also struck out at least one batter in each inning. Only Bob Gibson in the 1968 series has since duplicated this feat. Walsh had his first great regular season in 1907. He led the league in WAR, ERA, games started, games finished, complete games, saves, and innings pitched. Walsh had a 24-18 record with a 1.60 ERA and 206 strikeouts. The following season, he had arguably the best of his career. It was also among the most dominant ever in baseball history. Walsh became the second and final pitcher to record 40 wins in a season in modern baseball. He also set the modern record with 464 innings pitched. For the season, he had a 10.3 WAR, 40-15 record, 11 shutouts, 6 saves, and 269 strikeouts. He led the league in WAR, wins, win-loss percentage, games pitched, games started, complete games, saves, shutouts, and strikeouts. Walsh was a workhorse and regularly pitched on 3 days or fewer of rest. In 1910, Walsh had an 11.1 WAR and led the league in ERA and saves. But he also led the league in losses, finishing with an 18-20 record. Walsh continued his elite performance in the next 2 seasons, as he finished second in MVP twice. In 1911, he had a 9.2 WAR, a 27-18 record, a 2.22 ERA, and 255 strikeouts. He also led the league in saves for the 4th time. He finished second in the MVP voting to Ty Cobb, who got 100% of all first-place votes. The following season, he had a 12.1 WAR and won 27 games. He led the league in games, games started, games finished, saves, and innings pitched. He finished second to Tris Speaker in the MVP voting. That season, Walter Johnson of the Senators led the league with a 15.4 WAR and still finished third in the MVP race. However, the excessive workload soon took its toll on Walsh. Beginning with the 1913 season, Walsh's performance fell off the cliff. He initially wanted to take the year off to rest his arm, but eventually pitched for the team. One result of this change of mind was he was out of shape when he appeared in spring training. Walsh tried to compensate with more strenuous training, but he damaged his arm instead. He was never the same. Over the next 4 years, he had an accumulated total of 33 games, a 13-7 record, 1 save, 64 strikeouts, and an ERA of 2.45. He also never reached 100 innings in a season. In 1916, he asked permission to take the year off, but Charles Comiskey, owner of the White Sox, refused and released him instead. He tried to revive his career with the Boston Braves, but the team also released him after pitching just 4 games and 18 innings. Walsh finished his career with a 66.5 WAR, 195 wins, a 1.82 ERA, 35 saves, 1,736 strikeouts, and a whip of 1.00. His 1.82 career ERA is the lowest ever, while his whip is third all-time. After briefly pitching in the minors, Walsh turned to umpiring. In 1922, he umpired 82 games for the American League. He spent the rest of the decade mainly as a coach for the White Sox. In 1946, Walsh was inducted into the Hall of Fame. He died on May 26, 1959. He was 78. Walsh's legacy lives on. In 1999, the Sporting News named him as the 82nd greatest player of all time. He was also a finalist for the Major League Baseball All-Century team. In 2011, he was inducted into the Irish American Baseball Hall of Fame. Thank you for watching. Do you think Walsh's excessive workload shortened his career's peak? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing. It helps immensely.